Empress Wu Zetian is believed to have created a secret police force tasked with rooting out dissent, using brutal and covert tactics that often led to torture and execution to maintain her grip on power. Despite her ruthless image, Wu established a meritocratic examination system, significantly improving the recruitment of government officials and allowing people of talent, regardless of their background, to rise to important positions. Wu Zetian had a network of spies and informants that extended even into her own family, ensuring that no one, including her children, could conspire against her without her knowing. She was known for commissioning the construction of the Ming Tang, a grand hall in Luoyang that symbolized her divine right to rule, showcasing her ambition to portray herself as a Buddhist deity. In her later years, Wu reportedly maintained a harem of young male concubines known as the Court of Young Men, or Tongzi, demonstrating her unconventional defiance of traditional gender roles and norms. The birth of Wu Zetian was shrouded in omens, an air of destiny that was palpable from the start. Born on February 17, 624 AD in Lizhou, modern-day Guangguan, China, Wu's family was neither humble nor particularly noble. Yet it was marked by a keen political instinct that would become her birthright. Her father, Wu Shihuo, was a merchant who dealt in lumber but adeptly maneuvered into the echelons of power, securing a position as a governor. Her mother, Lady Yang, was known for her stoic wisdom, a trait that Wu would mirror in her own intricate and calculating nature. Growing up in a family that teetered on the edges of affluence and influence, Wu understood early that power was not given. It was seized. Wu had siblings, brothers who were granted the privilege of education and potential futures in bureaucratic roles, though their names often faded in the shadow cast by their formidable sister. Early in her youth, Wu exhibited an intellect that belied her years. She learned to read and write proficiently, a feat not common for girls in her time. Mastering the classics, she delved into Confucian teachings but found herself drawn more to the philosophies that spoke of power and dominion. This intellectual curiosity was coupled with beauty. Wu was described in chronicles as possessing eyes that gleamed with an almost unsettling confidence, framed by striking features that captured the attention of those who encountered her. At the age of 14, Wu entered the harem of Emperor Taizong, though she was merely a fifth-rank concubine, a rank that implied service and little more. Wu's sharp mind and preternatural understanding of courtly intrigue began to shift her fate. Emperor Taizong himself took notice, reportedly captivated not just by her beauty but by her rare wit. It is said that she was permitted to assist in the scriptorium, the emperor's library, where she transcribed texts and advised on matters of state. Yet, stories hinted that their relationship was far from chaste. Some accounts from the Ziji Tongjian imply secret meetings cloaked in darkness, where Wu's counsel intertwined with seduction. When Emperor Taizong died in 649 AD, custom dictated that his concubines be sent to Garnier Temple to live out their days in secluded piety. But Wu's ambition burned too fiercely to be dimmed by ritual. Here lies one of the more lurid tales that history keeps close. It was said that Emperor Gaozong, Taizong's successor, had visited the temple on a spiritual excursion and rekindled an old flame with Wu. How she left the temple remains speculative, but whispers claim she leveraged relationships and perhaps even coerced allies within the court to engineer her return. By 650 AD, she was back in the palace and began her slow, steady rise through the labyrinthine corridors of power. by the time Wu maneuvered her way into becoming empress in 655 AD. The Tang court had become both her kingdom and her playground. Historians like C.P. Fitzgerald recount that Wu did not merely adapt to the treacherous world of palace politics. She mastered it. Empress Wang, whom Wu deposed, became an emblem of Wu's merciless cunning. The circumstances were grim. Wu's newborn daughter had been found lifeless, and many pointed to Empress Wang as the instigator of the murder. Yet, other historians suggest that Wu orchestrated the death herself, framing Wang to hasten her downfall. Whether truth or slander, it worked. Wang and her allies were stripped of power, imprisoned, and eventually executed. A cold reminder that Wu did not merely play the game of power. She redefined it. With her position secured, Wu Zetian's reign was characterized by calculated brutality masked with benevolence. Her secret police rooted out dissent, employing methods of torture and execution that became legend. She kept a court filled with spies and informants, who would report on even the slightest hint of betrayal. These spies were said to be so feared that nobles dared not speak openly, even among trusted friends. The old Book of Tang mentions that whispers of rebellion would meet the ears of Wu, who would, with the flick of a jeweled hand, order executions carried out swiftly, sometimes with inventive cruelty. Yet, Wu was more than a shadowy figure of cruelty. She was an effective administrator who led the country into a golden era of economic prosperity and military victories. Under her watch, the examination system was reformed, favoring officials of merit over those of noble birth. This policy, forward-thinking and radical for its time, weakened the power of aristocratic clans and allowed for a new generation of leaders loyal only to her. But while her public policies strengthened her empire, her private life drew as much attention, scorn, and fascination. Beyond the political, Wu's personal life was a source of both awe and scandal. The accounts of her lovers are manifold, blending into a hazy tapestry of seduction and influence. Wu's hunger for power extended to her relationships, which she wielded as tools of control. One of the most discussed relationships was with the brothers Zhang Yizhi and Zhang Changzong, who served her not just in matters of state but, according to sources like the New Book of Tang, in more intimate capacities. These young men, known for their handsome faces and flattering ways, became close confidants. Yet many suspected their influence came at the cost of their integrity. Rumors of lavish orgies and secret meetings circulated among the ministers who dared not voice their dissent too loudly, lest they, too, be purged. Wu's reign saw other notable liaisons: Taoist priests, military generals, and scholars. The most intriguing were those relationships that blurred the lines between passion and strategy. She was known to use her influence over her lovers to gain information, secure alliances, and sometimes dispose of threats. Yet, not all were content to be tools in her quest for absolute power. Betrayals did occur, leading to swift retributions that only cemented Wu's reputation as a ruler who could love fiercely, but kill without hesitation. Her sons, often pawns in her imperial chess game, suffered under the weight of her ambition. Li Hong, her eldest, was groomed for the throne but died under suspicious circumstances, possibly poisoned at Wu's behest. Li Xian, another son, experienced a similar fate, exiled and rumored to have been driven to suicide. It was not until Wu's death that her surviving son, Emperor Zhongzong, would take back the reins of power. albeit briefly and under significant duress from the factions that continued to vie for control. Wu Zetian's personal tastes reflected both opulence and meticulousness. Her quarters were filled with rare silks and gold-threaded drapes that glittered under the lamplight. She preferred garments of deep purples and blacks, colors associated with both royalty and mystery. Meals prepared for her featured exotic ingredients: venison, peacock, and imported fruits, served on jade dishes. She had a fondness for fine wine, and it was said that her private gatherings were spectacles of excess, echoing with laughter and filled with music from courtesans trained in the finest arts of performance. Travel, when necessary, was an extension of her grandeur. Wu employed an array of golden carriages, designed with intricate carvings and lined with embroidered cushions. She traveled with a retinue of guards and servants, whose sole purpose was to ensure her comfort and safety. Lavatories within her chambers, rare even among the privileged, were crafted with porcelain and supplied with perfumed water. Her physicians, always at the ready, practiced both traditional Chinese medicine and imported methods from India and Persia, evidence of her embrace of global influences to fortify her rule. Despite her religious inclinations, she was known to favor Buddhism and even funded the construction of great temples such as the Longmen grottos. Wu's faith was interwoven with a practical understanding of power. By aligning herself with the Buddhist belief that women could achieve enlightenment, she justified her unprecedented rise. Yet, her piety did not extend to leniency. She weaponized religious institutions as tools for propaganda, ensuring that monks and scholars endorsed her as a bodhisattva reincarnate.